Level 100. The pinnacle of power for a Pokemon. Very few Pokemon ever reach this level. This is a series of videos in which I push Pokemon's levels to the absolute limit by raising them to 100 in unconventional ways and environments. Because, more or less, I'm crazy. This is the Level 100 Gauntlet. I hope you enjoy.
The date is November 17th, 2019. I had just finished the main story of Pokemon Sword, and I was ready to tackle the postgame. I went into the slumbering weald, and then I saw them. What? Who are these people? Look at those hairstyles! These guys with freakish hair. Swordward and Shieldbert. I was so intimidated by their presence that I left the rest of the postgame unfinished for months. Until the evening of May 7th, 2020. I went for a bike ride at sunset, and I was suddenly struck with a spark of inspiration and courage to finally take on the rest of the postgame. Was it the idea that I still needed to catch Zacian if I really wanted to catch them all? Was it the prospect of a potential level 100 Gauntlet off of this legendary battle and a desire to experiment with it? Well, you're watching that Gauntlet video right now, so obviously that did play a part in it. But honestly, I had a much grander idea in mind that evening. I had an idea to create my own contribution to a meme that at the time of editing is already not super relevant anymore. So, in order to achieve my meme dream, I assembled the old team, and we took on the postgame that night. Finally, the prophecy that had been telling me to go to Wedgehurst Research Lab for almost 200 hours was going to be fulfilled. There's only about an hour of gameplay separating me from Zacian and Zamazenta, but during that hour, there's a lot to be admired, like Sonya's button mashing. I would not want to go against Sonya in Mario Party, and I bet she's got a crazy Roy in Smash Ultimate. You also get the only opportunity in the game to admire raids with different battle backgrounds back at the gyms. Don't get me wrong, I like the standard one, but I've seen it hundreds of times now, and I wish you could change it like you can with the battle backgrounds in Versus battles. Especially since my time admiring these battle backgrounds was so short-lived since my team was super over-leveled and I one-shot everything. Then, I got to admire my own personal growth, as I faced my fears and took on one of my worst nightmares, Swordward. Despite still not knowing how his hair works, I managed to overcome his team with ease, and he was the final battle standing between me and Zacian and Zamazenta, meaning that overcoming my fear would allow me to make this meme and this gauntlet. So I did. Alright, it's a little bit later into the night. Took down a ton of Dynamax Pokemon. And now we're here, playing with the big dogs. And now, we're at the top of the tower, where on Pokemon Sword, you fight the legendary Zamazenta, and then are told to capture the legendary Zacian. Except, we're not going to be capturing Zacian, at least not for a while, because we have a level 100 Gauntlet to make. And more importantly, a meme to make. So the cool thing about the Zacian battle in Sword, or the Zamazenta battle in Shield, is that it's infinitely rebattleable until you capture it. That means we can take it down and then instantly take it on again. Over and over again. And that's going to be the whole core of this gauntlet today. I'm going to be training an entire team of Pokemon from level 1 to 100 off of only these two legendary battles. And this Zacian battle is also part of my grand meme scheme. The way this battle is set up would be perfect for shiny hunting, but it's a known fact that it's shiny locked and cannot appear shiny. For my meme, I'll acknowledge that and say that there's something different that has a small chance of happening in this battle. Then I'll add the hashtags Pokemon Sword Shield and Nintendo Switch to make it look like I uploaded the video officially from my Switch. And that'll get people to watch the video. It's a classic bait and switch tactic, and I'll set this all up so people think they're learning some new Pokemon information, only to hit them with And while I'm recording this meme video, I'm going to be strategizing what kind of team I'm going to be preparing to take this on. Because pitting a level 1 Pokemon up against a level 70 Legendary is going to also take a grand scheme like this meme. I spent the rest of this night diligently learning everything I could from this fight and preparing the meme. I then posted the meme out into the world. And I might later regret that, for deceiving so many people. But that's the heart of Ronaldinho videos, and it seems 2,000 people agreed with that. That or they got so angry that they pressed the like button in a fit of rage, and I don't blame them for that either.
Ronaldinho success!
And now, with my meme quest complete, the real journey begins. Let me introduce you to the team. The first Legend Slayer is Mimikyu. Mimikyu's probably going to be a very important team player and sacrifice throughout this whole ordeal. I bred for this Mimikyu on Sun, in an environment that I hope it doesn't hate me for. Its strongest suit is its ability Disguise, which will always allow it to tank at least one of Zacian's hits and set something up, in this case being either Destiny Bond or Curse. First turn, I'll always try to go for Destiny Bond, and hope Zacian breaks the Disguise, but only 2 out of 4 of Zacian's moves will actually break the Disguise or damage Mimikyu, so I'm not always guaranteed to get the KO I want out of it. That's where Curse comes in. When I use Curse, Zacian will take 25% of its HP and damage every turn, meaning all I'll have to do is stall it out for 4 turns, which is no problem when you have a full team of 6 Pokemon. I named this thing a mess of symbols, and I took it through the Alolan Pokemon League so it could have a special ribbon and title when transferred up to Sword and Shield. This Mimikyu is going to be taking a lot of hits, but it's not going to be the only one. The next member of the team is Togedemaru. Its role is to be a Fear Togedemaru. Fear, which is an acronym standing for Flippin' Evil Attack Rat, or Focus Sash Endeavor Quick Attack Rattata, is an age-old strategy for slaying legends with unlikely low-leveled Pokemon. The Pokemon tanks a hit, hangs on with 1 HP using the Focus Sash, uses Endeavor, which is a move that will also bring the opponent down to 1 HP, and then polishes it off the next turn with a priority move like Quick Attack. We can't quite do this exact strategy here, but we'll do something similar to it. Using a Focus Sash is off the table, since it's an expendable item that will be used up after 1 battle. And using a Rattata is also off the table, since it's not available in Sword and Shield, so we'll make do with this sturdy Togedemaru instead. With the Sturdy ability, Togedemaru can tank hits without having to hold a Focus Sash, and while it doesn't get Quick Attack, it gets Spiky Shield, which is still a priority move and will deal damage if the opponent uses an attack that makes physical contact that turn. Luckily, all 3 of Zacian's attacking moves do make physical contact, but unfortunately, when I was breeding this Togedemaru in Alola, I focused so much on the Mantine surfing that I had to do in order to get Endeavor that I forgot to breed it with Spiky Shield, so it won't get it until level 60. We're most likely only going to be getting this Zacian down to 1 HP with this thing and not quite finishing the job as a result. I named this Togedemaru Ronaldinho, and I also took it through the Alolan Pokemon League for the special ribbon and title. Making up for the shortcomings of my Togedemaru, we have Snover, which will act as the cleanup. This Pokemon has the ability Snow Warning, which will summon Hail that can deal damage to Zacian every turn, and it also has the priority move Ice Shard, similar to Quick Attack. This snowy dude will be making appearances when Zacian's down to 1 HP to clean things up. I bred this Snover in X and Y just for the heck of it, and I named it the Snowman symbol, which as far as I know is not accessible on the Nintendo Switch keyboard, making its name extra cool. I also gave it a snooze ribbon for a special title. Our next brave warrior is Galarian Corsola, with its hidden ability Cursed Body. I'm actually not going to use this thing until it eventually evolves into Cursola and gains the ability Perish Body. With Perish Body, anytime a Pokemon uses a move that makes direct contact with it, it will faint in 3 turns similar to the effects of the move Perish Song. It will get the moves Perish Song and Curse along the way, and it will play a very similar role to Mimikyu. I got this thing in a trade with my friend Dylan, also known as Pure Skill 740, and he named it Bruce. To any Bruces who may be watching this video, this name is merely coincidence. After that, we have Pyukumuku. Its role is to just be Pyukumuku. It has the ability Innards Out, which will deal a little bit of damage to Zacian if it gets knocked out. It also comes with Counter, which will deal hefty damage once it's strong enough to survive Zacian's hits. And it also has access to the combination of Soak and Toxic, allowing it to poison Zacian, which can't be normally poisoned in most cases due to its steel typing. I just bred this thing on Shield. I'm looking forward to using this because I've never used Pyukumuku for anything before. And finally, we have Heatmore, nicknamed the Legend, and its role is to be a legend. I have no particular reason why I'm using Heatmore at all here, other than me just personally thinking it's a really cool Pokemon that never gets enough love. I'll actually not be using Heatmore at all in the early levels of this Gauntlet, so while the other Pokemon are constantly fainting, it'll be constantly living and gaining experience. This will make it so Heatmore will most likely reach level 100 first, or at least pull ahead of the pack, and when it does that, it'll carry the rest of the team on its back from that point on, taking down Zacian by itself while the rest of the team catches up, cementing it forever as the Legend. On May 10th, day 1, the journey began. I transferred up the Pokemon that needed to be transferred to Pokemon Home, and I put them in Sword. Look at these brave warriors. Each of them are going to ascend to greatness in their own way. This is going to be legendary. The journey begins. With a questionable choice in hold items that I would later change, I marched to the top of the tower to take on Zamazenta. This is our one and only battle with Zamazenta, so let's make it count. Let's fight Zamazenta with a level 1 team. Starting out with Mimikyu. Alright, I'm going to try out the Destiny Bond strategy. And if this doesn't work, I'll use Curse. And if this doesn't work, I'll use Curse. Looks like, Play Rough missed. That's a very unfortunate situation. It'd usually be really, really good for that to happen. But it's pretty bad here. But at least we got a Curse on it. Iron Defense, so maybe I can set up a second Destiny Bond here. Didn't expect this thing to last so many turns in this battle now. What if we wall it out? What if we stall it out with Curse? That would be unreal. It's a solid 25% HP every turn. Iron Head. Mimikyu taking one for the team. And down goes Zamazenta. Look at that bountiful harvest of experience points right there. That's incredible. That's what I love to see. And Heatmore's gaining a ton because of that lucky egg. Not level 1 for long. That's for sure. Helping Hand? No. Taunt? No. Safeguard? No. Purify? No. After making many important move learning decisions, the canine of the hour, Zacian, appeared. And now, the real gauntlet begins. Looking at the Pokédex entry for Zacian, we can keep track of how many times we've done this by just looking at the number battled, because every time I defeat it in battle, it'll increment that number by 1. See, it does that with Zamazenta now that we've defeated Zamazenta once. So with this gauntlet, I'll be keeping track of that through that. And saved in front of Zacian right now, we're going to be at 225 hours and 25 minutes. Let's see how much that number changes for this gauntlet. So for the first Zacian battle, I'm going to let Ronaldinho take the stage. And we're going to try out the Fear strategy. Let's go. Let's ready that sword. I think I have an intense look in my eyes, too. Okay. I'm gonna try Endeavor. So in my first attempt at using Fear Togedemaru, I'd say things went pretty alright. It endured the ferocious behemoth blade somehow, and unleashed an equally powerful endeavor to bring it down to 1 HP. Then it restored some HP with its Shell Bell, but since it's not level 1 anymore, it wasn't enough HP to get it to full HP to activate Sturdy again, so it just went down next turn without doing anything. But that's okay, because Snowman Icon the Snover, the cleanup, did its job pretty well. I was starting to get a feel for how to go about doing this, and the experience points rolled in. Gaining these early levels was a game of balancing sacrifices, and until Corsola evolved and Pyukumuku became stronger, I just alternated between sacrificing Mimikyu and Togedemaru. Calls itself legendary. The real legend is in my party right now at the very bottom, and it hasn't even done anything yet. Oh, we've got our first evolution of this. Corsola is gonna become Cursola. Let's go, Bruce. Boom, Cursola. Nice. Now that we have Cursola, I'm gonna try out a battle with that at the front, since it now has its ability that's so useful for this. So with Cursola, the strategy is to select the move Curse in case it survives, but actually hope to get hit by Zacian, so that it guarantees to go down in 3 turns. Perish Body. Both Pokemon will faint in 3 turns. So now we have a guaranteed defeat on Zacian within the next 3 turns. So might as well have fun with it. We're going to try and send out Pyukumuku for the first time. See if it can survive for a little bit. Pyukumuku didn't really do all too much except prove to me that Pain Split's not really effective at this point in getting Zacian down to a good amount of HP, but it was still undeniably Pyukumuku, so it was living up to my expectations and the role that it was supposed to play. I think Mimikyu will do the job with its disguise. Nothing Zacian can do right now. He's going down. Mimikyu really just said, down it goes. Had a couple casualties that time, but it was cool getting to use Perish Body. From this point on, I had gotten into a routine, and the battles didn't feel as legendary anymore, and more like a simple thing I could grind. This is actually a good thing, because this is a level 100 Gauntlet, and that's what these are all about to me. I had a steady flow of experience points, and it wasn't very long until the Snow Boy became a Snowman. I also did something I probably should have done much earlier, and gave a Rocky Helmet to Togedemaru so the fear strategy would actually work. At this rate, I probably could have kept up the grind for hours, and gotten tons of experience points and gotten closer and closer to finishing the gauntlet. But unfortunately, I am merely human as well, and I can succumb to distractions. Whoa! Where's that big bird? Taking a brief intermission for this because I swear I just saw a really big Hawlucha outside. Where is it? I spent like 5 minutes outside looking for the bird, and I did get some bird footage, but I'm not sure it was the right bird. I'll say for sure that I got some Yanma footage though. My distractions didn't end there though. I looked outside and realized it was around 7 o'clock, which was prime time for what fueled this gauntlet in the first place. It's time for another sunset bike ride. When I get back from this bike ride, we're gonna fight more Zacian. Try and get that number fought as high as we possibly can too. Just because. Thought it would probably be a bad idea to bring my Switch with me on this. I would be grinding while doing this, but I decided against it. I'm back from the sunset bike ride, and now there's a nice sunset in-game. Let's fight Zacian for a little bit. So for the rest of the evening, I fought Zacian. I also made sure to give the folks back home a good call since it was Mother's Day, and at this point I hadn't seen my family in person for a couple months, actually since I was filming the Curry Gauntlet. It was a nice chat, but the grind never stopped, and the levels kept pouring in. Speaking of family, I was very proud of my son Pyukumuku, who is now strong enough to deliver a devastating counter to Zacian and take it out the next turn with Innards out. Togedemaru also got Spiky Shield, the move I should have taught it when I first bred it. But at this level, I didn't even need to use the Fear strategy anymore. Things were going very well. It's almost midnight now. I need to go to bed so I can do some work tomorrow. But I've fought 81 Zacian now. But my team is coming along pretty nicely. The legend is at level 81. I'm still not fully ready to have this thing sweep Zacian yet. We're gonna do some more of this tomorrow. Or maybe some other point this week, I have no idea. I'm actually working on like a million projects at once every day right now, so I never know what I'm gonna do, but this is definitely a possibility for something I'll do tomorrow. But until then, I'll see ya. Good night. I did end up continuing the Gauntlet the next day, May 11th, by going on a sunset walk instead of bike ride. It's almost next to impossible to film a Switch screen outside and see what's going on it, but luckily, the Switch has a screenshot button that allows you to record 30 seconds of gameplay at a time. So I was still able to illustrate the grind clear as day. It was a pretty short but satisfying walk, and I defeated Zacian 10 times, bringing my total to 91. On day 3, May 14th, I decided to pass some time while grinding by firing up an incense in Pokemon Go, in hopes of maybe finding a shiny Dunsparce during the Johto event going on. And believe it or not, within the hour I had that incense up, I didn't find anything. I bet all these characters are so annoyed with me right now. Like Swordward and Shieldbird are just sitting there in awe as like the dog that they've been trying to control for their master plan is just battling me over and over and just sitting there testing me. They're just baffled about it. And this researcher girl who thought she was really onto something going into disguise, she's just in total awe too, because I'm just totally wasting her time right now. The legend also finally made his debut that night. He was very slow, but also very strong, and barely ever struggled to take down Zacian. I had to heal him a lot because of how slow he was, but he made very quick work of Zacian for it being his first time ever doing a battle. The legend wasn't even level 100 yet, and it was already carrying the entire rest of the team on its back. But that's okay, because the rest of the team had already done a good share of work, and deserved a rest. It wasn't very long until this happened. And the legend has done it. Level 100 off of only Zacian. And I still don't know if it outspeeds it or even speed ties with it, because its base stat is terrible compared to Zacian's. But we've done it. We've gotten a Pokemon to level 100 off of only Zacian, and it took us 142 battles with this thing. I think our job here is far from done though, because we still have the rest of this team. And before I catch Zacian, I want all of these guys to reach level 100 because they all helped me out along the way. So let's go. And here's our time after the first level 100. But it would be a long while before I made any more progress on this gauntlet. I decided to let my team rest for a little while as I worked on other things. During this period of time, most of my time playing Sword and Shield was spent shiny hunting, but there were also a ton of events that happened. So here's a quick recap of those. There are a bunch of special raid events, including one for Gigantamax Pikachu, which has the best cry in the entire Pokemon series, hands down. There are also special raids for Gigantamax Eevee and Meow. But their cries aren't nearly as cool, let's be real. There are also a bunch of mystery gift events going on with Galarian form Pokemon with their hidden abilities. I don't know about you, but I'm always down for something with a special ribbon caught in a Cherish Ball. One of them looked kind of familiar to me, and it reminded me of some level 100 gauntlet thing I probably should have been doing. There was also an online battle competition, the International Challenge for May. I did not have any battle teams prepared at all, but I entered anyway, because I was enticed by the reward for participating. The night I did my battles, I wistfully stared out the window at the reflection of my game, as I got absolutely bodied and destroyed in every way possible. But it was all worth it, because I got an Ultra Ball Ball Guy shirt. As a reward for users of Pokemon Home, they also released Hidden Ability Galar starters as a gift. And something really unique about this gift is that they're not shiny locked. Lots of people online reported that they ended up getting one of them shiny. It's almost like a special one-time hunt that you only get 3 tries at, and none of mine were shiny. Then, finally, on June 15th, I went on another sunset bike ride, and I got another spark of inspiration. But this spark was more of a wake-up call, telling me that I needed to finish this gauntlet. My in-game character was even fed up with my procrastination. You need to finish the gauntlet, Matt. The Isle of Armor DLC drops in 2 days! 2 days! Finish the gauntlet, Matt. So with a second wind of motivation and determination, after a month of not touching this, I tried to complete it that night. We're at 165 defeated. Let's get back at it. To tell the truth, I never really lost motivation in the first place. I just had so much other stuff to do. But I stayed on task that night. And I ended up staying up later than usual, which allowed me to see a battle background that I hadn't seen before. Whoa, it's late night now. That looks cool. I don't know if I've done this at midnight yet. I don't know if I've seen that background, but that's cool looking, man. That is beautiful. I wanted to stay up even later to see if there were any more battle backgrounds I had not yet seen, but I still had to keep some semblance of a sleep schedule for work, so I ended up going to bed right after this happened. Alright, I'm getting really sleepy. But with this battle, Pyukumuku reached level 100, so now we have 2 Pokemon on our team at level 100. And on that note, I will turn out this light, and I will go to bed. Still got my Pro Controller though. Still got my Pro Controller. 251. Day 5, June 16th, the final day before the Isle of Armor DLC dropped. It was time for business. Level 100. Go Bruce! Let's go Bruce! Level 100 Mimikyu. 4 down, 2 to go. Level 100. Ronaldinho Success! I probably pronounced that wrong. Only Abomasnow left. Let's get Abomasnow to level 100. Thanks to the legend, the Heatmore. This final grind session was really calm and mundane. Within only a couple hours, the rest of the team had hit level 100. And eventually, there was only one battle left. According to the Pokedex, I've battled Zacian 337 times. This 338th time, I'm finally going to capture it. So I readied the Rusted Sword one final time and prepared to capture Zacian. In order to show that the legend has a gentler side and a little bit of restraint, I used it to weaken Zacian instead of defeat it this one time. And I threw one heavy ball at Zacian. Finishing off a heavy gauntlet with a heavy ball. Level 100. Now I'm about to see this cutscene for the first time if there is more cutscene after this. I legitimately don't know what happens next. The hero of many battles. Battled 338 of them. Wow. I learned that I would see an angry Zamazenta in the Slumbering Weald. Probably still upset from losing against my level 1s. And from me giving Zacian so much spotlight compared to it. So as the next logical step, Zamazenta bonded with someone else who went through a similar experience with me, losing to me in humiliating ways many times. Zamazenta was caught by Hop. The game also played the Pokemon Capture jingle for this, which I thought was kind of funny. Hop wanted to have one final battle with me, which I assume is the final battle that I need to do before I finish off all the story stuff in Sword and Shield before the DLC drops. Oh yeah, we gotta check our final gameplay time first. 241 hours and 39 minutes. I really don't remember when I started this, how long it took. but I'm sure my future self will in editing. Thank you, future self. And it's been a good time with this team. This isn't the team I want to finish off the game with. I gotta use my original squad. Especially with the DLC dropping tomorrow. I think I'm going to form a new team in the DLC and take things on with that, since there are going to be so many more Pokemon to catch. So I think we need to give these guys a proper send-off in this final battle. So, let's take on Hop in the Slumbering Weald. I marched forward to the final battle of the base game. And I might be one of the last people in the world to actually do this battle. But all that matters is that I'm finally getting it done. Good old Hop music. This first attempt at this battle would come to an abrupt ending, though. I need battle animations on, man. I need battle animations. So I guess I'll use this final battle to talk about how I feel about this gauntlet, and how I feel about things going forward. I don't think this was a very hard gauntlet at all in any way whatsoever. If anything, the difficulty was in the preparation, and I found it pretty fun exploring Pokemon's movesets to see which ways I could cheese a legendary. I have a mixture of both crazier and more tame things on the way soon in terms of gauntlets. At the end of the day, just expect Pokemon getting to level 100 in unconventional ways and environments, as usual. I'm sorry it's been so long since I've uploaded one of these, but just know I'm always working on more, and I'm already a good ways through my next one right now. These are so much fun to make, so I never have any intention on ever stopping making these. Same goes for just shiny hunting and Pokemon videos in general, and I'll always have something new on the horizon, even if it takes me months. I really appreciate the outpour of support for all these videos, and next I plan on finally editing together my entire journey on the Isle of Armor. It's going to be a movie-style video. I'm not sure if I have enough footage for a full movie like I did with the base game, but I expect it to still be at least a solid 40-minute video. Man, it might take me a little while to edit it, but I hope you still look forward to it nonetheless. Yay! The end for probably the next less than 12 hours. There's always going to be more. Pokemon never ends. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. But first, I guess I'll give you a little sneak preview of my next gauntlet. What's up, everyone? It's Absol, and today I'm going to be training a Pokemon to level 100 in one of my favorite games. That's right, we're going to be training a Pokemon to level 100 in...
Ronaldinho success!